Good day everyone. My topic is about designing assessment tools for competency-based education. However, in this discussion, I will specifically focus on developing assessment tools aligned with competency-based outcomes. I will explain how assessment can be designed to match the learning outcomes that emphasizes the skills, performance, and real-life application. So let's begin with the definition. Let's just first understand what is competency-based education. It is a learning-centered approach that focuses on the mastery of specific skills and knowledge. Unlike traditional education, models that often prioritize seat time, CBE allows students to progress at their own pace, demonstrating their understanding and abilities through various assessments. This method fosters a more personalized learning experience, catering to individual students' need and learning style. So technically, it is more focused on what learners can do after learning. It emphasizes the skills, applications, and real-life performance. Therefore, assessment must be aligned with the learning outcomes. If the outcomes focus on skills, then assessment should measure performance, not just memorization. Assessment in CBE is like a process of evaluating the learner's ability to demonstrate specific competencies. So these competencies include the knowledge, skills, and attitudes needed to perform tasks effectively. Unlike traditional assessment, which is more focused or it mainly focuses on written exams, CBE emphasizes real-life application. So next one, we have the features of assessment in CBE. So the features of assessment in CBE, it is personalized learning. So students have the autonomy to learn at their own pace, allowing to deeper understanding and retentions of materials. So assessment in CBE is tailored to the individual's need. Students progress at their own pace, and assessments are designed based on their current level of understanding and skills. So this allows learners to focus on areas they need to improve. It's also it's also mastery focus. It emphasis in place on achieving a high level of proficiency in specific competencies rather than merely completing assignments or passing tests. CBE emphasizes the mastery of competencies. This means students must fully understand and demonstrate a skill before moving on to the next level. So assessment ensures that learning is complete, not just partially achieved. It also flexible assessment. So in this one, assessments are designed to measure a student's ability to apply knowledge in real-world scenarios rather than just recalling information. The CBE is flexible in terms of time and method. Learners can be assessed when they are ready, and different type of assessment tools can be used to measure their competencies. So this supports diverse learning style and paces. Next one, we have the role of assessment in competency-based education. So we all know that assessment in CBE is not merely a tool for grading. It is an integral part of the learning process. It serves multiple purpose. So one of the purpose of assessment in CBE is measuring progress. So assessment provide insight into a student's understanding and mastery of competencies, helping educators tailor instructions to meet individuals' need. So assessment is used to track the learner's development. in acquiring specific competencies. It helps to determine whether students are improving and if they have reached the required level of mastery. It also providing feedback. So timely and relevant feedback is crucial in CBE. It's allowing students to understand their strength and areas for improvement. So assessment gives timely and constructive feedback to learners. So this helps them to understand their strength and areas that they need to improve. It's allowing them to adjust and enhance their performance. Another role of assessment in CBE is encouraging reflection. So assessment encourages students to reflect on their learning journey, fostering a growth mindset and self-directed learning. So it encourages learners to reflect on their own learning through self-assessment and feedback. Students become more aware of their progress and, of course, take responsibility for improving their skills. Let's now proceed with the types of assessment in CBE. So we have 3 different types of assessment in CBE. First is the formative assessment. So these are ongoing assessment that provides feedback during the learning process. Examples, it includes the quizzes, peer reviews, and self-assessment. Again, when we say formative, this type of assessment is conducted during the learning process. It is used to monitor student progress and provide continuous feedback. Next one, we have the summative assessment. So this assessment evaluates students' learning at the end of the instructional unit. So, ang mga examples naman po nito is final project, presentation, and standardized test. So, the summative test, it is conducted at the end of the lesson or course to evaluate whether the student or the learners has achieved the required competencies. And also, we have the performance-based assessment. So, this assessment requires students to demonstrate their skills in real-world scenario. Okay, this is a type of assessment that focuses on the actual demonstration of skills. Learners are required to perform a real-world task to show their competency. So, ang example naman po nito, it includes presentations, demonstration, role-playing, and practical exam. Okay, so next one, we have here the examples of assessment in CBE. So, I will now provide some examples of assessment in competency-based education. So, for our first example is project-based learning. So, in a competency-based framework, students may engage in project-based learning where they apply their knowledge to solve real-world problems. For example, students can be tasked to develop a marketing plan for a local business. So their performance is assessed based on first research and analysis, such as understanding the market trends and consumer behavior. Also, we can measure their creativity and innovation, okay, in terms of developing unique strategies. Also, we can measure also their presentation skills, where they present their plan and receive feedback. Another example is the use of digital portfolios. So, students compile a collection of their work over time, such as essay, projects, and reflections. So, through this, teachers can assess. First is yung growth nila and improvement. Second is the mastery of the skills. It is shown in their output. Also, we can assess the self-assessment. Okay, as a student reflect on their learning and they can set goals for themselves. And lastly, we have the competency checklist. These competency checklists are used to determine if learners have achieved specific outcomes. For example, in a healthcare training, students may be assessed based on first patient assessment, diba? Or how they evaluate the patients. Second, in terms of communication skills, in terms of interacting with patients and family. Next one is technical skills such as performing procedures. So those are the examples of assessment in competency-based education. Let's now proceed with the challenges that may occur in terms of implementing assessment in CBE. So first is standardization. So developing standardized assessment that accurately measure competencies can be difficult. So one of the challenge is ensuring consistency, okay, or ensuring the consistent assessment across different teachers and institutions. So since CBE often uses performance-based tasks, it can be difficult to maintain uniform standard and fairness in terms of evaluating the students. Second challenges is training educators. So educators must be trained to design and implement assessment that align with CBE principles. So teachers needs a proper training to design and implement competency-based assessment effectively. Without sufficient knowledge and skills, it may be challenging to create valid assessment and use appropriate evaluation tools like rubrics. Third challenges is the resources allocation. Okay, so schools may need additional resources to support the development of innovative assessment method. So CBE assessment often requires more time, materials, and of course the support system. So schools may face limitations in terms of budget, facilities, and manpower. So those are the things that making it difficult to implement assessment effectively. Let's now proceed with the practices for assessment in competency-based education. To effectively assess student learning in CBE framework, educators can adopt the following best practices. So first is align assessment with competency. So it ensures that all assessments are directly linked to the competencies being taught. So assessment should directly match the learning outcomes or competencies. This ensures that what is being tested truly reflect the skills and knowledge that the learners are expected to develop. Second one is use a variety of assessment method. So incorporate different types of assessment to capture a comprehensive view of students' learning. So teachers should use different types of assessment such as project, performance tasks, quizzes, and portfolio. So this provides a more complete and accurate measure of students' learning. Also, we can practice by simply providing continuous feedback. Okay, offer timely feedback to help students understand their progress and areas for improvement. So we all know feedback should be given regularly throughout the learning process. This helps learners understand their strengths and areas for improvement, allowing them to improve before final evaluation. The third one is encourage self-assessment. Foster a culture of self-reflection where students assess their own learning and set personal goals. So learners should be given opportunities to assess their own work. This promotes reflection, responsibility, and deeper understanding of their learning progress. Next one, let's now proceed with the trends in competency-based assessment. So the trends in CBE, first is the integration of technology. So the use of digital tools and platforms to facilitate assessment and provide instant feedback is on the rise. So technology is increasingly used in assessment through online platforms, digital tools, and learning management system. These tools help in delivering assessment, tracking student progress, and providing immediate feedback. Also, focus on soft skills. So there is an increasing emphasis on assessing soft skills such as teamwork, communication, and problem solving. There is a growing emphasis on assessing soft skills such as communication, teamwork, critical thinking, and problem solving. So these skills are important for real world and workplace success. Next one is personalized learning pathways. So assessment will increasingly be tailored to individuals' learning pathways, allowing for more customized educational experience. So assessment is becoming more tailored to individual learners. Students follow personalized learning path based on their needs, pace, and progress, allowing for more effective and meaningful learning experience. Assessment in competency-based education is a dynamic and essential component that supports the students' learning and mastery. By focusing on real-world application and personalized learning experience, CBE prepares students for success in their academic and professional endeavor. As educational practices continue to evolve, embracing innovative assessment strategies will be crucial in fostering a generation of skilled and competent learners. So, assessment in competency-based education is not just about giving grades. It is about ensuring that the learners can truly perform and apply what they have learned in real-life situation by simply aligning assessment with competencies, using varied method, and focusing on mastery. We can create a more meaningful and effective learning experience. Although there are challenges such as lack of resources and teachers training, this can be addressed through proper planning and support. In the end, CBE prepares students not only for exams but for a real-world success. So helping them to become more skilled, confident, and competent individuals. Thank you.